Hi everybody, it's Catherine from In the Pink Designs, and today I am making a pretty large goodie box for Halloween. It opens like this, and it'll hold the large pack of M&Ms and one full-size candy bar. Or you could put 3 of the full-size candy bars in here if you didn't want to do an M&Ms pack. You might be able to stack 2 M&Ms packs on there. But I also made it kind of like a gift card too. You can write a little something to whoever it is that you are sending this to. The box measures 5 1/4 by 4 by 1 inch. Okay, and I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, so if you are interested in buying any of these products, my website is at the top of the page and it's also linked below. So I used Best Witches stamp set. I used this image here with the little pot, the potion, cauldron, I guess. I also used the stitched rectangle dies along with the Scalloped Contours dies. This time we're going to switch. I made this back rectangle here out of Highland Heather. This time we're going to switch it to Granny Apple Green. Okay, I thought there was a little too much purple, so I wanted to switch it up. Okay, so what we need for this is a large piece of Granny Apple Green. It is 11 by 8 1/4, so you just have to cut 1/4 inch off of the 8 1/2 inch side. We need some basic white for stamping. We need 4 pieces of, nope, 5 of the Brights design 6x6 designer series paper. 1 piece that is 3 3/4 by 5. 2 pieces that are 3/4 by 5, and 2 pieces that are 3 3/4 by 3/4. Alrighty, don't worry, all of these measurements will be on my blog, which is linked below. Okay, alright. We also need a piece of basic white to go on the inside here. That is 3 3/4 by 5 also. Oh no, that's the only one. That's that. Sorry. And then we need 2 rectangles. This Granny Apple Green one here is going to replace the Highland Heather one here. And this one, they're both from Stitched Rectangle Dies. This one is 4 3/8 by 3. And then this one is 3 7/8 by 2 5/8. Alrighty, but they do come from the Stitched Rectangles dies. And then what I do to make this little scallop up here is I use this rectangle from the Scalloped Contours dies, and I stamp it, and then I cut the bottom right off to make that scallop after we stamp the sentiment on it. Okay, alrighty. So let's get started with our piece of Granny Apple Green. You could also use Parakeet Party if you wanted to. Okay, so we're going to start with our piece of Granny Apple Green that is 11 by 8 1/4. Alright, so I'm going to get my stylus here, and we're going to start on the 11 inch side, and we're going to score at 1, 2, 6, and 7. Okay. And we're going to turn it a 1/4 turn to the 8 1/4 inch side, and we're going to score at 1/2, 1 1/2, 6 3/4, and 7 3/4. Okay, that's it. Now I'm going to fold and burnish. Okay, now how this is situated is there is 1/2 inch strips on the top and the bottom, and then there is 2 1 inch strips on the left. Okay, so that's how your paper should be situated, and this is what we're going to do right here. Alrighty, okay, so we're going to start over here on the left. And we're going to go over to the first score line and cut it straight to the second score line. Then we're going to get rid of these two pieces. Okay, we're going to go over to the next score line and cut it up to the second score line. We're going to get rid of this one piece on the bottom. And then we're going to wedge each side of the square. Okay. All right, we're going to skip these two rectangles here. So go to the next score line, cut it straight to the second score line. Next score line again, and straight to the second score line. We're going to get rid of this bottom piece here. And then we're going to wedge each side of the square. Okay. Then we're going to get rid of these two rectangles. So just turn it, and then along the score line, just get rid of it. Okay. All right, now we're going to turn it 180, and we're just going to do the same exact thing, but the opposite way. All right, so these two rectangles here we don't want. So we're going to go to the first score line, we're going to cut it up to the second score line and remove them. Okay. Alrighty. Then we're going to go to the next score line, cut up to the second, get rid of this piece on the bottom, and then wedge both sides of the square. Okay, I'm going to leave these two rectangles alone. So go over to the next score line, cut it to the second score line, next score line, second score line. I'm going to get rid of this one on the bottom and wedge the square on each side. And then we're going to get rid of these two pieces here. All right. Okay, and that's what it should look like after you've cut it all. Okay, the skin, what's left of the skinny rectangles are on the top and the bottom, and the two 1-inch pieces are here. Now we just have to round a little bit of things here. We're going to round this piece here, the 1-inch piece that has nothing attached to it, and this here is a 1-inch rounder. So I'm just going to round both sides of this rectangle. Okay, and then we're going to round the long sides of the two pieces that are left over on the skinny rectangle. I do usually use a 1/4 or a 1/2 inch instead of a 1-inch rounder, but I don't know where I put it. I put it in a drawer to organize everything, and I forgot which drawer. Okay, now we'll do the one on the other side. Okay, and this is what your cardstock should look like after you've done scoring it, cutting it, and rounding the corners. Now we need some tear and tape, and we're going to put 2 pieces on each one of the tabs we made. So we're going to put one close to the score line and one close to the edge on all 4. Okay, now I'm going to use my take your pick tool, and I'm going to get rid of the backing on one set first, this piece here. Okay, and we're going to attach it to the side of this rectangle here, the one that's not rounded. Okay, so we're going to go with the score line on top of the square here and make it straight with the side of the rectangle. We're going to do that on both sides. Okay, so then these will fold in, and this will be this side actually, and these actually keep the box from squishing in when you close this top lid, so it keeps it nice and square. All right, now we'll just do the other side. Okay, and we're going to take the top of the square here and make it flush with the side of the rectangle. Okay, and that is your basic box. Okay, just like this. There we go. All right, now we're going to do some gluing on of our DSP. Okay, so for the top we need a piece. This is the Gorgeous Grape color in the bright 6x6 DSP. And we're just going to put that right on the top here. And I'm going to use liquid glue. Okay, and then the two long sides that are 3/4 by 5. And the two short sides that are 3 3/4 by 3/4. Okay, so we're going to let that dry a little while and we'll do our stamping. Okay. First, this is the inside piece of basic white that is 3 3/4 by 3/4, and we're going to put a little frog in there. Down there. Great. Okay, and then on our big piece, we're going to do our witch with her cauldron. And just make sure that you leave room for us to cut it with our rectangle stitched die. Great. Okay, and then we need to stamp. Now this is our pumpkin pie rectangle that is 3 7/8 by 2 5/8. And we're going to take the sentiment, if you've got it, haunt it, and I'm going to shoot. Let me just straighten this. I'm going to shoot to get it as low and to the left as I can. It'd be better what I did when I was doing it is I stamped it first and then I cut it out. Yeah, well, because I got that. All right, well, I have a finished one, but I'll use this for an example anyway. Okay, so then this is from the Stitched Contours dies. The actual die is about 4.5 by 3 1/4. And what we're going to do is, you need a ruler. To get this little scalloped edge on the top here, I'm going to take a pencil, and from the bottom I'm going to mark 1 inch on both sides. Okay, but let's just pretend this sentiment looks good. And then I'm going to take this die here, and I'm going to use this inside top one to measure, and I'm going to put, I don't want to cut the sides with this because the sides already have a nice stitching. So I'm going to put this in the middle, and I'm going to put this top part of the die right down on top of those two marks I made at 1 inch. Okay, and then you tape it down and run it through your machine, and this is what we have. Okay, so this was here on a full piece. Okay, And then I measured 1 inch and put this down, making sure that I didn't get either side. Okay, so this fits right in the middle. And then I ran it through my machine, and then this is what we have. Okay. All right. Now, for our witch, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we get the tip of the hat as close to the top edge as we can. Okay, and then the side of the hat and the side of the cape fit in there just nicely. Right, and then you would tape it down, and that's what I got. And again, this rectangle is this it? No. I don't know if I said. This rectangle is 4 by 2 5/8. Okay, now before we attach this, I want to do our coloring. And I'm going to be using the Stampin' Up Stampin' Blends. Okay, but you can use whatever you like. If you like colored pencils, we have those too. Okay. And let's start, let me put this here so I can see it. Let's start with the hat. And we're going to use light basic black. All right. I'm just going to do the hat pieces, not the buckle and the band. Okay. Then we're going to use dark Highland Heather on the hat band, the cape, and the tights. Okay. Then I'm going to use dark Saffron on the hair. Okay, and I need light Flirty Flamingo for the cheeks. I'm just going to put a circle roughly on each side of the mouth. Okay, and then dark Petal Pink for the face and the hands and the ear over there. Okay, then for the dress, I'm going to use dark Pumpkin Pie. Okay. Also with the dark Pumpkin Pie, I'm going to do the right side of the flames. Okay. Then I'm going to pull in some dark Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to do the left side of the flames. Okay. And also the hat band, the buckle. And then I'm just going to bring in light Pumpkin Pie. I'm just going to blend the two parts of the flame together. Here we go. Okay, then we need light soft suede for the logs, dark smoky slate for the cauldron, and light granny apple green for the little bubbles coming out of the cauldron. Okay, now we also needed, I forgot, we need a separate frog to cut out, so I have to do this one more time. Great. Okay. And how I'm going to do the two frogs, I'm going to use dark Granny Apple Green for the feet and the bottom of the body. Just go up a little bit. Maybe inside the legs there. And I did put it on one side of the eyelids. And then I'm just gonna, fill in with the light. But let me do this one too. And that's it for coloring. Now I'm just going to fussy cut this frog out. Alright, so on the inside, let's just put our piece of basic white that we stamped on. And this is 3.5 by 4 3/4. Okay. And then we're going to attach our, if you've got it, haunt it right over the bottom of this rectangle that has the image on it. And if you don't mind everything being white on the bottom, you don't have to do the whole orange piece, pumpkin pie piece. Okay. Now I need our black and white gingham ribbon, and I'm going to tie it around right below the scallop, and we're going to secure it with some glue dots so that it doesn't go all over the place later. Okay. I'm just going to try to keep it where I want it so that it's the right length and everything. All right, and then I'm just going to tie a bow down here. You could also just do a bow and glue dot it on the side without the strip if you want. I think I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger than I did on this one, just a little bit. There we go. We want to pull it a little bit so that doesn't cover the sentiment too much, but we're going to put glue dots too, so it's not a big deal. I'm just going to cut it off. Okay. And I want to just do a glue dot. I'm going to do a couple of them. All right. I'm going to put one at this end underneath to keep that end right. And then I'm going to put one under the knot at this end. And that will just keep it nice. Okay. All right. All right. Then we need our Granny Apple Green rectangle that is 4 3/8 by 3 inches. And we're going to put this right on top with dimensionals. You could also secure it by putting one of these right on top. Okay, and I'm just going to center it right on top. Just like that. All right, and then once we have it onto here, well, at the end we'll put another glue dot once we have it on our big thing, so we can keep the seat part of the bow kind of off the if. All right, and then we're just going to put it with glue dots on, with dimensionals on top of the box. Yeah, I think I like the Granny Apple Green better. All right, more glue dots, more dimensionals. And we're just going to center it right here. Oops. Okay, and then where did my frog go? Here he is. And I'm going to put dimensional on top of him, on the back of him. And this way he can kind of go a little bit on top of the ribbon without being covered up. Okay, now for the closure, I'm going to use 5/8 inch adhesive backed Velcro dots. And I'm going to put one right in here, middle, and then I'm going to put the other side on top of it with the adhesive facing up. And then we're just going to make sure that our box is aligned well. And then we're going to, nope. And we're going to pull it up gently. Nope. Okay, when this happens, just take your pick tool and kind of force the other side to stay down. There we go. And then just reinforce both sides. Okay. Now I'm going to do that final glue. Alrighty, my camera went out on me. So all I did is I just put a glue dot right there so that it will kind of stay away from the sentiment. Alright. Okay, now I'm going to put some Wink of Stella glitter on the hat. And the cape. Okay. And then for the final touch, I'm going to get some of the Glossy Dots assortment and I'm going to put some of them up. I'm going to put a large one up over here, a medium one down over here, and a small tiny one right there. Okay, and that's it. If you have any questions, my email is below. The link to purchase Stampin' Up! Products from my store is below, and also the link to my blog so that you can get all the measurements and everything written there. I also have a Facebook group, which is In the Pink Designs Paper Crafts group, that I also put sales and things that I say on here, but if you didn't see one of my videos, that would be in your feed. All right. Don't forget that July 1st is the release of the new mini and the Celebration catalog. You can start ordering it from you. If you ordered from me in the last year, I sent you a mini and a Celebration catalog. If you haven't gotten it now, you should be getting it in the next week. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate the time you spend, and I will see you next time. Bye.